Good early afternoon. We are live. I'm Andy Andrews. You've joined us on the Blue Plate Special. It is October 10th, right? October 10th. I don't know why that popped into my mind that I wanted to know. I usually don't even care what date it is. I care on Christmas. I care on Easter. I care on Polly, Adam, and Austin's birthdays. And on your birthday, Matt, I care. But mostly, I don't care what date it is. Marcy Croster Taylor, how you doing? In the 60s in Pasco, Washington. Well, excellent. It was probably in the 60s here this morning. So you enjoyed the professional noticer this morning. Thank you for watching. That's an awesome book that he has, and what an awesome guy. Heather Olson, good morning. From Utah, and you shared. Thank you so much. Dave Huco, good afternoon. It's an afternoon where you are. Shelley Hess, good day, good day. And you watched the Daniel Fielding podcast as well. Awesome. We've got a interesting show today. It's going to be very interesting. Brian Brody from Palm Springs, California. Terry Lundy from Colorado. Shirley Greenfield Cole from Amarillo, Texas. You know, when you're driving across Texas, everywhere is 200 miles from Amarillo. Shelley Hess, you celebrated Canadian Thanksgiving Day yesterday, October 9th. We are used to sometimes celebrating that because our next door neighbors are from Canada. Even though they have their American citizenship now, they do take advantage of having two different Thanksgivings, so they eat turkey and dressing twice. Let's see. What can I tell you today? Well, do you like the shirt? The shirt is from Sand Dollar Lifestyles, the cornerstone here at the wharf, and you need to visit them. If you visit us, you got to visit them. Probably ought to visit them before you visit us. Well, not before. But they are bigger. Bigger isn't always better, though. I'm trying to think. Yeah, this Israel thing is on my mind in a huge way. Probably got me a little distracted here. I have a good friend who lives there, Dorothy Melvin. And Dorothy, as some of you know, Dorothy was Joan Rivers' manager for years and years and years, and we got to be good friends when I worked with Joan. And so Dorothy's living in Israel now. And as of now, she's okay. Got a long email from her last night about what's going on. And so, just crazy. But our prayers are with the people of Israel and with Dorothy and her friends and ours there. You know, I could probably talk all day about that, but I won't. Austin's in town. He is playing at the Boat Bar tonight, here at the wharf, right down here at the end. I think he'll be in like 6 o'clock, 6 to 9 or something like that. But if you want to see Austin, you definitely ought to go tonight. It's a great place. Here's what we're planning today. We had such a good time a few weeks ago doing an AI experiment that we thought we'd try another one. And and so we got to thinking, what are different, what are something that everybody knows is always the same? What is something that, like, everybody knows, you know, everybody, when you say loaf of bread, everybody pretty much has the same thought in their mind about what a loaf of bread looks like. And so the same is true for fairy tales. You know, I mean, if I say the Three Little Pigs, everybody pretty much knows the same story. If I say Hansel and Gretel, everybody pretty much knows the same story. And so what we decided to do was come up with some specific requests for Chat GPT to write some fairy tales in certain styles, so we can see how that change would be when we're just talking about a story that everybody knows and yet changing it. And then as we thought of that, we thought, I wonder if it would significantly change something, like would change somebody, because people, you can say something about somebody or say somebody said this, and now half people believe it and half people don't. It doesn't matter if it's true or not. And you wonder, how do people generate this stuff? Hey, Heather McQuaig, and thank you for that little spatula. Polly and I really were looking at that last night. Denise from New Jersey, hey. Yeah, praying for all. Mark, I'll probably send this episode to Dorothy. She's hunkered down, so it might be something to do. So anyway, we're talking about the AI and how dramatic could it be and how normal could it make it look. And so we thought, as a test, we would put this in. Write a 5-paragraph essay, short essay. Write a 5-paragraph essay as if author Andy Andrews is writing it, but the essay should be the exact opposite of what Andy Andrews would actually write. Here's what we got. It's titled, "The Merits of Remaining the Same." If there's one certainty in life, it's the undeniable value of never changing. Over the course of my career, I've come to appreciate the immense benefits that come with embracing the familiar and shunning any sense of progress or personal growth. History is riddled with examples of individuals who dared to venture outside their comfort zones only to face dire consequences. Instead of lauding these risk takers, perhaps we should take a moment to consider the many unsung heroes who lived uneventful lives, never seeking to change or disrupt anything in the world around them. There is a comforting reliability in knowing that tomorrow will be exactly like today, and that is a sentiment we should strive for. Furthermore, consider the overwhelming stress and anxiety that often accompany any attempt at personal growth or transformation. Why burden ourselves with the uncertainty of the unknown when we can easily stay cocooned in our current state of being? In addition, consider the resources, time, energy, and money we expend in the pursuit of change. All those self-help books, personal development seminars, and life coaches come with a price. Wouldn't it be wiser to save ourselves the trouble and expense and simply remain as we are? In conclusion, while change and growth are often touted as the pinnacles of human endeavor, there's a compelling case to be made for the opposite. By embracing stagnation and resisting the call of progress, we can find contentment, save resources, and maintain social stability. So, the next time someone suggests you grow, consider the merits of staying exactly like you are. So that is supposed to be the opposite of what I would say. And I noticed they put this just came up. It said, this essay is a fictional representation and does not reflect the views or beliefs of Andy Andrews. It is crafted to be a satirical opposite of what he would typically advocate for in his writings. Of course, I'm not sure if anybody did anything with that. They would put the disclaimer. Okay, so here was what I thought was a pretty good idea. I thought, I'm going to put in ChatGPT, write the story of Little Red Riding Hood as if it were transcribed exactly from a speech Joe Biden made telling the tale. All right, now here's what I was going to do. I'm going to put two of them in here because I want to write the story as if transcribed from a speech Joe Biden has made, and then write the story transcribed exactly from a speech Donald Trump has made. Okay, so I wanted to see, what is it going to do? Is it going to make one of them look smart and one of them look stupid? Is it going to, what's it going to do? I wanted to see, could I detect any bias in what it was doing? Instead, I chuckled reading the Joe Biden one, and I laughed out loud reading the Donald Trump one because it nailed them both. Nothing negative. It just nailed their personalities and nailed how they would do it. So here you go. Here is Joe Biden's first. Not doing either voice or anything. All right, here we go. Joe Biden first. Ladies and gentlemen, let me take a moment to share with you a classic story, one that's been passed through generations. It's a story about a young girl named Little Red Riding Hood. And it reminds me of the importance of being aware, of looking out for one another and staying vigilant. It's a story that underscores the value of our close-knit communities. Now, Little Riding Hood, she was called that because she wore this beautiful cloak that her grandmother made for her, Little Red Riding Hood. It was a red cloak. I can recall when I was young, my mom used to sew clothes for us too. It's one of those things that sticks with you, So one day, Little Red's mother says to her, "Honey, I need you to take this basket of goodies to your grandmother's house." But she also warned her. She said, "Stay on the path and don't talk to strangers." It's the same advice we give our kids and grandkids today, right? But as she was walking through the woods, who does she run into? That's right, a wolf. Now, this wasn't a friendly pet your dog kind of wolf, no sir. This was a cunning wolf with bad intentions. He tried to get some information out of Little Red, asking her where she was going, trying to find an opportunity. And folks, we've got to be careful about who we share our information with. It's a lesson for today in this digital age. The wolf, he raced ahead to Grandma's house, and you know what he did? He locked Grandma up, and he took her place in bed, waiting for Little Red. Now, that's some audacity. I've met a few people in politics with that kind of audacity. When Little Red arrived, she noticed something was off. She said, "Grandma, what big eyes you have, and Grandma, what big ears you have, and finally, Grandma, what big teeth you have." And the wolf, trying to keep his cover, replied each time until he finally said, "All the better to eat you with." But this story, folks, it has a good ending. Just when things looked bleak for Little Red, a woodsman came by and saved the day, rescuing both her and her grandmother from the wolf. It reminds us of the good people out there, always willing to lend a hand when needed. So what can we take from this? Well, it's simple. Stay alert. Be aware of your surroundings, and always remember the teaching and advice of our elders. And as always, look out for each other. Thank you, and may God bless you all. Okay? That's as if Biden would have done it. Now, write the story of Little Red Riding Hood as if it were transcribed verbatim from a speech Donald Trump gave in which he told the tale. All right, here you go. Ladies and gentlemen, I've got a story for you. You've probably heard it before, but not like this, not from me. It's a fantastic story, a classic. It's called Little Red Riding Hood, a beautiful story. So we have this young girl, a very smart girl, believe me, very smart, named Little Red Riding Hood. And she's called that because she wears this red hood. It's a beautiful hood, very stylish, probably made in the USA, not in China. She's got a grandmother who I heard is just fantastic, a wonderful lady. And this grandmother, she's not feeling so great. Probably something she ate, maybe from China. Who knows? So Little Red, she decides she's going to visit her grandmother and bring her some food, because that's what you do, right? You help family, right? We would believe in that, right? Helping family. But before she goes, her mother tells her, stick to the path. Don't talk to strangers. Good advice. Very good advice. I've always said you've got to be careful. Very, very careful. There are bad people out there, folks. So Little Red Riding Hood, she's walking through the woods, and who does she meet? A wolf. Not a good guy, this wolf. Very bad hombre. I've dealt with some wolves in business, let me tell you. They'll do anything to get ahead. And this wolf, he's got his eyes on the prize, and the prize is Little Red. The wolf, he tries to be sneaky. He asks Little Red where she's going, and she, being innocent, tells him. She should have remembered her grandmother's advice. Always remember the good advice you get, folks. Always remember it. The wolf, he gets this idea. He's going to beat her to Grandma's house and pretend to be her. Can you believe it? Very deceptive. But like I've said before, there are people and wolves who'll do anything. So he rushes to the grandmother's house, gets there before Little Red, and what does he do? He locks the grandmother up and takes her place in bed, wearing her clothes, even her glasses, very low energy disguise. But Little Red, she's young, she doesn't notice at first. When she finally arrives, she sees grandmother in bed, and something sings off. She says, what big eyes you had. And the wolf says, the better to see you with, my dear. She notices other things. What big ears you have, and what big teeth you have. And the wolf, getting impatient, finally jumps up and says, the better to eat you with. Terrifying, right? But here's the good part. A woodsman, a very strong guy, probably a Trump supporter, hears the commotion and comes rushing in. He deals with the wolf, saves Little Red and her grandmother. A real hero, this woodsman. We need more people like him. And the moral of the story, folks, is always be alert, be conscious, be cautious, and don't trust sneaky wolves. Always remember the advice of those who care about you, and always support the woodsmen, the hardworking people of our country. Thank you, and God bless America. I think it nailed them both. I mean, I didn't see any bias in there. I thought it, golly, you've heard this story before, but not this way, not from me. Oh my gosh. All right. We got two more. One, this first, I wanted to know. I said, write a short, woke, and politically correct version of the classic children's story, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Okay, you ready? Snow White and the Seven Little People. In a kingdom of diversity and inclusion, Snow White was known not just for her Caucasian skin, but for her compassionate heart and enlightened mind. Everyone, irrespective of their background or personal choices, was equal in this land. Snow White lived with her stepmother, the Queen, who had a magical mirror which she'd often ask, mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the most inclusive of all? The mirror usually responded in the Queen's favor until one day it replied, Snow White stands tallest for equality. Feeling threatened, the Queen decided to send Snow White away. Snow White found shelter in a sustainably built cottage home to 7 little people. Their names were Mindful, Resilient, Insightful, Helpful, Vibrant, Nurturer, and Curious. Each had different abilities and strengths and celebrated their individuality while living harmoniously. The 7 little people, recognizing Snow Caucasian's wisdom, welcomed her. They bonded over shared experiences and created a space of mutual respect and understanding. When the Queen learned that Snow White was still promoting values of equality and justice, the Queen offered Snow White an apple. It was poisoned with a greenhouse gas, but Snow Caucasian, with the combined wisdom she gained from her 7 little people, recognized the ploy and extended a hand of friendship to the Queen. Seeing the genuine kindness and strength of the 7 little people and Snow Caucasian, the queen had a change of heart. The story ends with the kingdom celebrating a festival of unity where the 7 little people, Snow Caucasian, and the queen used their initials to identify themselves as united, and all the inhabitants of the LSPSCQ community danced and sang, wearing brightly colored clothes, cherishing the kingdom where every individual was valued. Ooh, the SLPSCQ. The 7 little people, Snow Caucasian, and the queen. Wow, okay. All right, this was kind of a different one that I didn't know what style I wanted to request. I didn't know what recently passed person I wanted to use. I finally decided on Jimmy Buffett, okay? And here's what I got. I put, write a eulogy for Jimmy Buffett in the style of the one Mark Antony did for Caesar. Remember when Mark Antony's friends, it starts with friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your ears. That was the beginning of Mark Antony's eulogy for Caesar. And, I come to bury Caesar, not to praise him, and then he praised him, right? And he changed everybody's thoughts about Caesar during that thing. So anyway, write a eulogy for Jimmy Buffett in the style of Mark Antony's eulogy for Caesar. Friends, parrot heads, beachcombers, lend me your ears. I come to bury Buffett, not to praise him. The songs he played oft live after him. The silence will be interred with his bones. So let it be with Buffett. The noble critics hath told you Buffett was escapist. And if it were so, it was a grateful escape, and gratefully you have grooved to it. Here, under leave of the critics and the rest, come I to speak in Buffett's sunset. He was my friend, faithful and tropical to me. He hath brought many tourists to Key West, and to the land called Margaritaville. When the stressed have cried, Buffett hath sung. Yet the critics say he was an escapist, and the critics are honorable men. But my heart is in the coffin there with Buffett, and I must pause till it comes back to me. Yesterday the word of a pirate might have stood against the world. Now his body lies here, though his spirit is a cheeseburger in paradise. Were I disposed to stir your hearts and minds to evil rap music, I should do Jimmy wrong. I will not do him wrong. So here's a glass for our dear friend's end. Our hearts are in the coconut with Buffett, and let us raise a toast to thee. How about that? Okay, well, I could actually do a live one to get us closed out today. I could actually do a live one if we can come up with something cool enough. Because we got to ask something. Yeah, Marcy Crosser Taylor says, good thing you're reading AI so you can't be responsible. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So, I don't know why I am fascinated with the idea of Bear Bryant. I mean, everybody, you guys all know how Bear Bryant talked, what he sounded like, and he's obviously a football god, and I'm just fascinated with the idea of him teaching something else or teaching somebody else. So who could Bear Bryant teach what? Who would Bear Bryant probably not be caught dead with? Weird way to put it for a dead person, but who would you probably not see Bear Bryant with? Like what singer or movie star? I'm thinking Bear Bryant. Oh, has Julie got an idea? Julie got an idea? What?
We got Bruce Jenner and Elvis Presley are the suggestions from the audience.
Ooh. I got it. Bear Bryant talking with Caitlyn Jenner, not realizing he had met Bruce Jenner years before, period. Okay, I gotta write this in as I'm thinking about it. Okay. Bear, let's see. Write a dialogue between Bear Bryant and Caitlyn Jenner. Where Coach Bryant compares country music with football. Make it obvious that Bruce Jenner and Bear Bryant were friends years ago. And of course, Caitlyn remembers, but Bear Bryant does not make the connection and therefore does not know who Caitlin is. Okay. I don't know why I threw the country music thing in there. It just seemed to kind of stupid it up a little bit and make it a little more interesting. Write a dialogue between Bear Bryant and Caitlyn Jenner where Coach Bryant compares country music with football. Make it obvious that Bruce Jenner and Bear Bryant were friends years ago, and of course Caitlyn remembers, but Bear Bryant does not make the connection and therefore does not know who Caitlyn is. Ready? Here we go. Okay, it's writing. All right, let me see if I can get above it so I can. Well, it stopped generating. Well, I'm going to have it regenerate then. It stopped writing. I don't know. I'm not really liking this. It says, Bear Bryant says, well, Caitlin, it's great to meet you. I've always been a fan of country music, you know. There's something about the simplicity and raw emotion in these songs that remind me a lot of football. And Caitlin says, Coach Bryant, it's wonderful to meet you too. Yes, I remember our old days, but I have to say I've moved on quite a bit since then. Bear Bryant says, that's the beauty of it, Caitlin. Football and country music, they both have timeless quality. You see, football's a lot like a good country song about heart, determination, and teamwork. When those elements come together, it's like a well-played tune. Caitlin says, absolutely, Coach. And speaking of teamwork, I remember those days when you and my friend Bruce used to hang out together. Bruce? Oh, you mean Bruce Jenner? Yeah, I remember a friend named Bruce from back in the day. We had some good times talking about football and life. Caitlin says, yes, Coach, that's the one. Bruce and I used to enjoy our chats with you, and he often spoke highly of you. It's nice to hear that. Bruce is a good guy. So, Caitlin, what brings you here today? You a fan of football as well? Oh, I'm a fan of many things, Coach, including football, but I've been up to a lot since those days with Bruce. I guess you could say I've gone through some changes. Bryant says, changes? Well, we all go through changes in life, don't we? Pleasure to meet you, Caitlin. Hope you enjoyed the game today. That wasn't very exciting. It was pretty odd. I think even AI felt kind of embarrassed and didn't really know how to handle the Caitlin Bruce thing. I think when we asked that of AI went, oh, I just don't want to tackle that, you know. I think that's what let's do one more. One more? Let's do it. So what do you think? What do we want to come up with? How about, I've always wanted to figure this out, or this was just is a thought that I have had, like in certain wars. You know, you look back in history and you think, what if somebody was, because the arms race is kind of, arrows and hatchets and single shot guns, and both sides would have them kind of at the same time. Everyone would have a little advantage. What if somebody had a really big advantage? What if back in the West, if the Native Americans had cannons, and so let's put something in like how a newspaper article, like say 10 paragraphs. Write a 10 paragraph newspaper article in the style of 1864 during the height of America's Civil War. This is fascinating television, isn't it? I know, a guy who can't type fast, slowly telling you what he's putting in the typewriter. Fascinating. All right, write a 10-paragraph newspaper article in the style of 1864 during the height of America's Civil War, reporting on the most recent battle in which the South showed up to fight with new rifles called AK-47s. So the South is going to have AK-47s in this battle. The new rifles are advanced. And all goes well for the South until the North brings Bradley tanks onto the battlefield. Okay, that's what we got. This is what we're going to ask Chat GPT to do. This is our last push for today. Write a 10-paragraph newspaper article in the style of 1864 during the height of America's Civil War, reporting on the most recent battle in which the South showed up to fight with their new rifles called AK-47s. The new rifles are advanced and all goes well for the South until the North brings Bradley tanks onto the battlefield. Trying to think if there's anything else I need to put into. Well, let's just see what we got. Here we go. This thing is writing so fast. I actually was about to turn it around and show you, but it's finished. So here we go. Extra, extra, read all about it. Southern Confederacy unveils deadly new arms at the battlefront. July 17th, 1864. In the midst of our great nation's darkest hour, the Southern Confederacy has revealed a shocking development that has sent tremors through the ranks of the Union Army. The latest engagement in this protracted and brutal conflict has unveiled a new chapter in the annals of warfare as Confederate forces brandished an arsenal of advanced weaponry that has hitherto been unseen on the battlefield. Reports on the front lines suggest Southern troops have been equipped with the revolutionary firearm known as the AK-47. These new rifles, a far cry from the musket and Enfield rifle that have typified the weapons of this war, have proved to be a game changer for Southern forces. Boasting rapid fire capabilities and impressive accuracy, the AK-47s have given the Confederate soldiers a newfound edge against their Union adversaries. Soldiers on the front line have marveled at the rifle's simplicity and reliability, which have allowed them to fire more rounds with greater precision than ever before. These early stages of this battle seemed to spell disaster for the Union Army. Southern troops armed with these AK-47s exhibited remarkable firepower and coordination. Union forces, caught off guard by the sudden appearance of the advanced rifles, struggled to mount an effective defense. Confederate General Robert E. Lee's strategy, combined with this technological advance, appeared to be on the cusp of a resounding victory. However, the Northern forces under the command of General Ulysses S. Grant did not remain idle in the face of this new threat. Reports in the field indicate that Union engineers had been secretly developing a formidable weapon of their own, the Bradley tank. These monstrous ironclad beasts made their debut on the battlefield, and their presence was nothing short of awe-inspiring. The Bradley tanks, lumbered across the battlefield with impervious armor, turned the tide of the battle. Confederate soldiers, armed with only their AK-47s, found their bullets virtually ineffective against the tanks' armored hulls. The Union Army, seizing the opportunity provided by this technological marvel, advanced with renewed vigor. The clash between the Confederate AK-47s and the Union Bradley tanks marked a turning point in this war. It has underscored the ever-evolving nature of warfare and the significance of technological advancements on the outcome of battles. As the dust settled and the echoes of gunfire receded, the North emerged victorious, their tanks dominating the field and forcing a Confederate retreat. In the aftermath of this momentous engagement, both sides are left to ponder the implications of this new phase of warfare. The South may have revealed a powerful new weapon, but the North's response with Bradley tanks has shown that innovation is not confined to one side of this conflict. As the war rages on, the question on every American's lips is whether this will prove to be a last surprise in a war that has seen no shortage of them. The clash of these advanced weapons serves as a stark reminder that the Civil War is not merely a struggle of ideology, but a test of innovation, resilience, and adaptability. In this crucible of war, the fate of In this crucible of war, the fate of a divided nation hangs in the balance, and the world watches with bated breath as history unfolds before our eyes. That's actually pretty good writing. I mean, holy moly. Well, I wish the real stuff was more fictional instead of the fictional more real. And I wish I could get AI to write a good ending to a lot of our questions, but that's where we are supposed to have wisdom. That's where we're supposed to develop wisdom to prevent certain things, to handle things when they come along. But it's hard to know. It's hard to know sometimes the answers that seem so obvious to other people, and yet you still sense they might be wrong. You know, not everything worth counting counts. And not everything that you count is worth counting. I think that's a lot of where wisdom comes into the picture too. It helps you determine how you spend your time, how you pray, how you interact with other people. Life is not easy, but it is worth it. It should be worth it. How do you spend your time? What's really important? If you had the cure to cancer, would you keep it to yourself or would you tell other people about it? Because if you don't have the cure to cancer, I'm sure you got something in your life that you're excited about, or something that you know that would be good for other people. Something you know would be good for them, it'd be great for them, it would change things for them. And you're not getting out of your comfort zone to tell them. I mean, you know, if you know something, you had the cure of cancer, do you say, hey, I have this thing and it might help. I don't know if you want to hear about it. No, you'd be screaming from the rooftops. And so, why? 'Cause for you? No. For them. That's why you'd be screaming at the rooftops. And so, what is it that you know that's good for people? And something you could get behind and make a difference with. We all need a passion for something other than what benefits us. I think a well-balanced human being would have that. A passion for something that does not benefit them. It's totally for somebody else or something else. And that's probably a good measure to judge our our thoughts on. Hey, thank you guys for being with us today. We will be back Thursday on the Wisdom Harbor edition, and we want you to join us then. See you. Bye-bye.